Good morning, my beautiful ladies in Business Women Rising Above. How are you all this morning? Oh, just setting up now. I can see your comments. How are you going this morning, lovely ones? We are here again this morning to do some business growth insights training with all you beautiful ladies, which is something that I come and do every single Tuesday morning at 9:30 Adelaide time. It is amazing to be here, and I have a really interesting topic to talk on this morning. So what I'm going to share with you this morning is the truth behind the words I know, right? Really two simple little words that we might think that sometimes are too simple, right? What she's going to talk about these two words for half an hour on, trust me, right? There is a lot behind these two simple little words. And to start off with, right, we need to most people might recognize this. If you're a Friends fan like me, like I am a huge Friends fan, the words I know, you probably, when you hear them in a Monica voice, like, I know, in an American loud Monica voice. But the reality, in reality, these two little words, right? And I just want to say too, if you're watching this, if you're watching the replay of this, if you're watching live, say hi. If you're watching the replay, pop hashtag replay, because I'd love to, I love to come back and say hi and check out your comments. And I've just lost why my phone does funny things. Anyway, so these two words in reality, while we might hear them in a Monica voice, right, they really have such an impactful meaning in our lives in lots and lots of different ways, right? And it all depends on how we use these two words, I know. So they can work for us or against us, depending on how we're using them and how we're saying them, and even our body language that goes with them. So if we let them, right, they can sneak up on us, and they can kind of hold us back in our life if we let them. You wouldn't think that these two words, I know, would hold you back, right? So we're going to talk through how they can work both for us and against us today. So first of all, let's look at how the words I know can actually work against us, right? So what we do often, and I hear this quite a fair bit, and I've said this, and you ladies know too, that when I come, if you don't know, when I come and do these trainings, I always speak from as someone who has learnt the lesson, right? And continues to learn the lesson. So when I talk through this today, just keep that in mind, is that I'm someone who has, if you like, been there, done that, right? Doesn't mean I know everything, but it means that I have certainly opened myself up, and we're actually going to talk about that a bit today. So when we say the words I know, we can say them quite dismissively, right? And we say them like this: yeah, I know. And I don't know if you could see that, but we say it with the eye roll, we say it with the head shake. It's like, yeah, I know. We say it with the attitude, right? And again, speaking of someone who has done it and still does it at times. And so we're using it in quite a dismissive way, right? And what it says is that basically when we go, yeah, I know, we're kind of shutting ourselves down to being open to learning more, right? And it almost sounds, when we say it that way, we don't mean it to, but it sounds, or it comes across as big-headed, or as maybe smart-ass, right? It comes across as, yeah, I already know that, right? With an attitude, like I have done plenty of times myself. Good morning, Parme. Good morning, Ashley. Lovely to have you two joining us this morning. And so we kind of, when we say it like that, it's like, yeah, I know, or yeah, I already know that. We are shutting the door, to potential further learning or further significant inspired action that we can take in our life and in our business to improving ourselves, right? Now, the other thing is too, when we look at these two words, I know, we can, and this is natural, we have a tendency to think that it's very impressive because we know things, right? And it is impressive when we learn new things. It feels good to learn new things. However, sometimes when we use the words in this manner dismissively, it's like, yeah, I know, right? We, like I said, we're shutting ourselves down. We're not opening ourselves up to learning more things. So we're shutting ourselves down to growth. Now, growth is an important part of business, right? If you're not continuing to learn and grow, then you're going to struggle, right, in business. How do I know? Because when I have stopped challenging myself to learn more stuff, that is when I have struggled in business. It feels good to learn new things. Absolutely, Parme. It really does. It feels great to learn more new things. And speaking of which, I was challenged. I am actually constantly challenged with this right now. And I was challenged as recently as last night on this, right? And it was, I have been attending, I've hired a new coach and I've been attending classes since February this year, and we had a class last night. And so I have been, you know, when I hired this new coach, it was with the intention to learn new things, to grow, right? But what's happened in this course is we've gone right back to the basics, okay, which isn't a bad thing. But I have found myself and I've heard myself using these words in this way, going into the trainings, going back to basics and saying to myself, yeah, but I already know that, right? Or it's like, yeah, I know, with the head roll, with the eye roll and the head tilt, right? That's the attitude that I have been going into these trainings with. And it's a weekly challenge for me because every time I hear myself with that attitude, I've got to go, okay, so just because you know one way of doing it, does that mean you can't learn another way of doing it, right? And when I have heard myself say that, and I'm going to talk through more of this later, I've heard myself say it in that manner. I've had to kind of really back down and go, you know what? I know a certain amount of stuff, but it doesn't mean I know everything. So I've had to change my whole attitude and go, okay, yes, I know one way of doing it, but now I want to open myself up to going in deeper and learning another way. And actually what's happened is when I've changed my attitude or when I've heard myself say the words in that way, I've actually started to realize, well, hang on a minute, actually, Ali, you know, you don't know as much as you thought you did, right? So I was kind of the mind, and I challenge you in this too. I was of the thought pattern that I already knew this stuff, but when I changed the way I was entering into these trainings, I've learned that there is still a hell of a lot more to learn, right? And so, like I said, this is a weekly challenge for me. And even last night it happened, and I had to correct myself. I had to go, all right, just because you know one way, it doesn't mean that you can't learn another way. And I had to go back to the question of, well, why did you sign up for this course in the first place? Why? Because I wanted to learn a new way. So I had to check myself, right? So can you see how the words I know can work against you? Now, also, building on that, the words I know, there may be maybe 3 words, so adding 1 word in there, right, that we don't want to say, right? But sometimes we need to say, and they are the words I don't know, right? And they can be difficult to say because sometimes we don't want to admit that we don't know something, right? So which is when the dismissive way comes into it, because we don't want to admit, it's like, yeah, I know, yeah, I already know that, when in actual fact we don't know. Right? And it can be really, really hard to admit, because when we admit that we don't know something, or we don't know as much as we can know about something, our itty bitty shitty committee goes nuts. Right? Our inner critic, it goes nuts, because we start to compare ourselves, imposter syndrome. We start to compare ourselves with everybody else, right? We start to tell ourselves that we're not good enough because we don't know that thing. And where in actual fact, it's like, if you don't know it, you don't know it until you learn how to do it, right? So the reality is that, okay, even though we might not know as much as that person over there, we still have the opportunity to learn more. Because the reality is that we can always learn more. It's actually when you can realize, when you come to that realization, it actually gets quite exciting. I've got to say, I've become addicted to learning more in a very weird way, because our brains have a really avoid the itty bitty shitty committee going nuts. Yes, mate. Our brains have like this huge capacity, almost this infinite capacity for learning, right? So let's go for it. Rather than saying to yourself, well, I don't know how to do it, and leaving it at that, be open. Okay, so you don't know what you don't know. That's okay. Be open to learning more. Tell yourself, rather than saying that you don't know and you'll never know and you can't do it, tell yourself that you're going to learn how, and that you will be able to do it. Right? I early last year, 2021, I decided that I was going to provide some online courses, and which I still do. And I've got some incredible online courses, both in the area of mindset for business and in business growth themselves. And so I decided that I was going to have to do some pre-recorded videos, which also meant that I was going to have to edit these videos. I was working by myself at that stage, so I had to figure out how to do it myself. And I didn't know how to do this this video editing. And so I was telling myself constantly, over and over again, I don't know how to edit videos. I just don't know how. And so I was shutting myself down from further learning, because I continued to tell myself that I don't know. And that was all I was saying. However, my mind shift was that it was like, okay, so I don't know. So go and find out how. And for months, I avoided, or I spent months trying to learn how to do this video editing with this attitude, with this mindset happening. And of course, what do you think happened? I struggled to learn how to edit videos. However, there was a massive mind shift that came, and the whole outcome changed. I decided one day, I don't know, it was just on a hot summer morning here in Adelaide, South Australia, that, okay, even though I don't know, I'm going to learn how. And it was just a total mind shift. It was like, right, I've got to, if I want this to happen, I've got to figure it out. So I was like, okay, so I don't know, but I need to know how. So I went and found a tutorial which was going to teach me how to go through and it was a really basic tutorial, how to edit videos, right? And so I found in that tutorial, I found a really simple program to use. And can I tell you, when that whole mind shift happened that morning, and in the space of 2 hours after weeks of trying to learn, I had a 30-minute video edited, totally edited and ready to upload. It took me 2 hours because of that mind shift that I had. It was just like, okay, so rather than saying I don't know and just leaving it at that, it's like, okay, so I don't know, but I'm going to learn how, right? And something that I am constantly, right, telling my Heart and Soul Business Academy girls, right, constantly telling them, we have a weekly Q&A session. every week about what they've learned and, you know, how they're going in the course, is I'm constantly saying to them, look, you know, ladies, ask it. If you have a question, ask it. There is absolutely no such thing as a stupid question. I don't even like that word, but we sometimes, if we don't know something, you know, our itty bitty shitty committee says, oh, you know, I'm really embarrassed to admit that I don't know. And so we're afraid to ask the question because we don't know the answer, and we get embarrassed in asking it in front of people. But here's the thing, is you don't know what you don't know, and that is okay. So I say to my girls, if you have a question, and I say to you too, ladies here, if you have a question about what I'm talking about today, please feel free to ask it. Ask the question. There is no such thing as a stupid question, because if you've got the question, right, it's highly likely that a bunch of others have the question as well. And this for me is something that even I, like I said, on a weekly basis, I need to remind myself when I go into the training that I attend, that if I have a question, ask it. You know, even last night I was on the Zoom meeting and I was typing out this question that I had, and it was kind of like, do I want to press the send button because I'm a little bit embarrassed to ask the question? However, what was amazing is when I built the courage up and I pressed send, and not 30 seconds later, I had about 5 or 6 people going, oh, that's a good question. I was wondering the same thing. And I went, oh, I was like, oh, well, I'm really grateful I asked that then. So can you see what I mean? So don't, as well as letting the words I know work against us, the words I don't know can work against us, but we can also allow them to work for us as well. Find time to learn. Yes. I've actually, in a weird way, become addicted to learning. It's actually really exciting. So how can the words I know work for us? Well, if we say them in a totally different way, right? They can be said, rather than dismissively, we can say them in agreement. So it's like, instead of going, yeah, I know, with the I and the head roll, we can go, oh, yes, I know. You know, so we are opening ourselves up. We're staying curious, right? And we might be wondering, it's like, okay, yes, I know. You might be wondering, okay, so I know, but is there a better or a new or an up-to-date way of learning something new, right? We're staying curious. We're staying open to learning more, right? And so rather than saying, yeah, I know, and shutting it down, we're actually saying, I know this way, but I want to learn more in another way, which is kind of like, so rather than being dismissive, we're acknowledging that we don't know everything, which is kind of the mind shift that I've had to go, that I constantly have to make every time I go into this new training I'm doing. And what I love is that every time it is literally every time I have that mind shift, I consciously make that mind shift, I always learn more every single time, you know. And it's like, all right, so okay, so I learned this way from this person, and okay, I'm learning this new way from this person, and they're both really, really valuable. Now it's kind of up to me to implement both these different learnings in a way that suits me. So I'm acknowledging, right? I'm acknowledging that, and this is what I encourage all of you to do, is acknowledge that we need assistance, right? So the words yes, I know can be, okay, I get it. I know I need help in my business, or I know I need support in my business. And it's like, okay, so now I need to find someone who might be able to help me. And it's like, so when I went and spoke to this guy about joining his course, it was like, well, I know I need assistance. Are you the one to help me? And this is what I find when I do my business booster calls and I do my webinars with my potential clients is, you know, they are coming to me And you might find this too with your potential clients, customers coming to you and saying, okay, I know I need help. Are you the one to help me? Right? So they're acknowledging, yes, I know I need help. I know one way, but I also know I need help. So rather than being dismissive, they're acknowledging. Used in gratitude and also feedback as well. So you can use the words, yes, I know, right, to acknowledge constructive feedback. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. And one of my amazing friends, Lucia, and I, we have very similar businesses, right? We work in a very similar space, and we are, we're kind of like accountability buddies, and we work together really closely all the time. And so we are constantly asking for each other's feedback, constantly. And it is invaluable, although sometimes tough to hear. It is tough to hear. I'm not going to pretend it is always easy to hear. And so, even these trainings, we will watch each other's trainings and say, do you have feedback for me? And, sometimes when Lucia will give me feedback, it is, like I said, it's tough to hear. But rather than going, oh yeah, I know, I choose to say, you know what, I know, I hear you, and you're right. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. So we're using it in the sense of gratitude as well. So you're acknowledging that feedback, and I'm grateful for that feedback, right? Even though, like I said, it's not always valuable to hear, as long as we're remaining open, then we're open to improvement, right? And we can improve ourselves in business. As long as we're remaining open to that improvement, what we don't know, we can learn. So 100% used in acknowledgement, used to be grateful for new learnings too. Like I said, I'm friggin' addicted to learning. Like it is ridiculous. As a person who only a couple of short years ago was very dismissive, I was very much the eye roll, head roll. Yeah, I already know that. I was not open to learning in any way. I have become totally addicted to learning new stuff, even though sometimes I have an attitude with it. I'm not perfect, that's for sure. And something I love actually watching the curiosity in my Heart and Soul Business Academy clients, in the girls' faces when they ask me a question. I love it, and I love that they ask questions. I have, and I say to them all the time, they challenge me constantly with their questions, right? Because not only are they open to learning, but they're also helping me improve. They're helping me to grow, and they're helping me to learn more myself. So, I'm, by helping my clients, and I would love, I'd love to know if you experience this in business as well, while helping your clients, while helping your customers, by helping them, do you have the opportunity? Do you enjoy learning and growing as well when they ask you questions? I love it. I always say to my girls, I love it when you ask questions, and they have taught me so much about how to improve my business. So it's really interesting. And it's what I find is, even though, and sometimes I have to check my itty bitty shitty committee a little bit, because sometimes, even though I know what I'm teaching, like I know my stuff, okay, I have to check by attitude when I'm answering their questions, right? And I need to remain as open to learning as they are. So it's a constant mindset journey and a mind shift journey that we're all going on, between the different ways we can say this simple little phrase, I know. We can either say it, I know, dismissively, or we can go, yes, absolutely, I know. And we can say it in agreement, in acknowledgement, or with gratitude. So ladies, time for a bit of self-reflection. And can I tell you, to be bluntly honest, when I was putting this presentation together, I did a lot of self-reflection, as you've heard this morning, myself. Absolutely, heaps. So how do you hear yourself saying this phrase, I know? Do you say it with the eye roll, I know? Or do you say, I know? Are you open to learning more? And depending on how you're saying it, how you are saying it, how you're hearing yourself say it, how is it affecting your life and your business? How are these words affecting your business in particular? We're here to talk about growing business, but we know that business is part of life. So how is the way that you are saying these two words, how is it affecting you? And if it is affecting you in a way that's not serving you, how can you change it? So, like me, every single time I enter into this new course, right, it's every Monday night, I have to check myself before I go into this training and go, okay, how can I change my attitude, right? First of all, it's like, what attitude am I going in with? And then it's like, what do I need to change the attitude? And if I do, how can I change it, right? And are you open to learning? Are you, even though you already know a lot, are you open to admitting that sometimes you don't know something and that you might need to know something? Sometimes, like I said, it can be challenging to admit that. So a bit of food for thought for you, lovely ladies. I just love giving challenges, which is actually what you'll find with me. You will find with me when you book in for a business booster call is that I love to give ladies challenges. So yes, these business booster calls are absolutely, they're free calls. In these calls, we get to find out, we talk through where you are at in your business and your mindset in business. I give you a free mini sales funnel audit, and we absolutely talk about the Heart and Soul Business Academy as well. But I love when we do that mini sales funnel audit is I love giving challenges to the beautiful ladies who come to these business booster calls. So if you would like to come and have a business booster call, it's a free sales call. It's not just it's not just that, it is you actually get a sales funnel audit as well, and you get some valuable tangible information to take away. Pop the word learn in the chat if you would like to book in for a business booster call. They are so much fun, and every single lady that I have done these calls with has gotten so much out of it. I even got a message from someone, I think it was yesterday, saying that she's implemented the stuff that I taught, that I shared with her on this call. She said it's paying off, and that was in literally over the weekend. So book in now for a business booster call. Pop the word learn in the chat, and I really look forward to I'm trying to stop the share here. Where's my controls gone? Meeting control. Oh, there they are. Don't you love it when everything changes on Zoom? They're on a different screen. Look, I look forward to speaking to you, ladies, and I will see you again. We have our members spotlight coming up on Thursday, so I will see you then. We have a beautiful lady, Kay Hamilton, who's going to share all about her business. So again, if you want to book in for a business booster call, pop the word learn in the chat. If you're watching the replay, say hi, and I will see you live in the group again soon, beautiful ones. All right, bye-bye.